Johnny, please don't do that. You're going to get hurt, or you're going to hurt someone else. Johnny, what did I just tell you? Somebody's going to get hurt. Johnny, if you do that again, I swear I'm going to whip you. Johnny, I just told you to quit. Now I'm going to ground you and take everything away from you. Johnny, didn't I just tell you to stop? How many times do I have to tell you? This isn't safe. This isn't good. Johnny, I tell you what, you're grounded now. Okay, young man, now you've done it again. I'm going to take away your TV. And that means you can't play with your PlayStation, or your Xbox, or your Wii. Johnny, I'm about to get serious now. I said stop it. Johnny! 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 Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC TV for Us. And that scenario should look kind of familiar to everyone. I think we've all been guilty at one time or another. But let's take a look at a lot of the societies that have in the past fallen and what's kind of happened to all of them. And one is in common that we can say as a common denominator is that the people usually mimic the government. Now, it should be the other way around. The government should mimic the people and what they want. But thank goodness, due to people who go on shooting sprees, the government doesn't do that because we wouldn't want them to come to our place and go on a shooting spree. So we need to keep that in mind. We need to behave in the way that would reflect how we want our government. But what happens is this becomes reciprocal and cyclical. So the government, just like with the parent who starts out telling Johnny not to do something, and then somebody does it, so little Johnny goes ahead and does what he's told not to, and then there's a law made, and there are penalties handed down, and then some Johnny does it again, and then they start looking at different penalties and stricter rules, and Johnny does it again, and then they threaten with those rules, and then they pass the laws, and Johnny does it again, and then they have a so-called title restriction, and that doesn't work because Johnny does what? That's right, he does it again. So here's the thing, is that just like our government and sometimes a lot of our parenting skills, we fail to follow through on the rules that we do have. Now, the reason I say that is that right now they're trying to pass more gun control. Well, let's go back to the story of Johnny. See, if you are going to break a rule or a law, then you go straight through it. It's kind of like there's a border that's set up, and there's your line in the sand. So reasonable people will stay within those bounds. Now, in Johnny's case, he really doesn't care about any bounds, obviously. He's just going to do what he wants to do. So having said that, what happens here is we find that Johnny is a criminal. So it doesn't matter how many times we tell Johnny and how many times we make it safe for the people around Johnny. Johnny winds up hurting someone. And what's happened there is actually enforced. If you want to do something, as far as rules go, make it a one and done. So, a sudden death kind of policy. If you go in and you use a gun, you'll just be shot. No trial, just shot. You know, it's not hard to know that someone went in and shot up a bunch of people, like happened in Connecticut. Newtown is a special case. There may be some cases where, okay, there may be some questions as to why or what, but the bottom line is somebody went in and shot someone up. Now, the government's not going to do that kind of thing, but we the people can, because we're allowed to protect ourselves. So what better way to protect ourselves than to be well trained and well armed and say to the Johnnies of the world, no. And if you mess up one time, I'll take you out. Now, here's the problem. In any of these shooting cases, was the law circumvented? In other words, was there a law in place that they went around legally to obtain a firearm? Might have been a few cases, but you know, that's really on the hands and the heads and the hearts of the people who let them have it. So I say to those people, you're done, one and done. You mess up, you can't sell guns anymore. That doesn't mean you can't own them, just can't sell them anymore. Will that really solve anything? No, because if they want to sell them, they still will. So gun control really isn't going to work for the Johnnies of the world. It's just that simple. So, having said that, the laws weren't circumventing, they were just broken. They just broke the law. So by definition, that's what a criminal does. They break the law. So it doesn't matter how many times you yell and scream at Johnny or what you tell him he can or cannot do. If Johnnies in the world want to do it, they're going to do it. Best remedy is to make sure that our teachers are well armed, well trained, and actually make that part of their curriculum. Hey, you got to learn to use a firearm. Now that's sad to have to say it in this day and age, but it's really come down to that. This is a new revolution, and it's the silent revolution. And I'm going to talk about that more in the next episode. The silent revolution and how we can fix this thing. But I can tell you right now, one of the answers truly is not gun control. If history has taught us anything, nothing really happens in the USA until we, the people, do our responsibility first. Because all Washington can do is make laws. And let's face it, they can't even enforce those 90% of the time. And when they do, they hand down some silly plea bargain. And when it comes to gun control, you know, that's just not going to work. So, stay tuned. There's going to be more on this topic. Stick with me. We'll try to make some more sense of this. Be good to each other. Peace.